بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Well, first of all, I would like to extend a deep appreciation and thank to Dr. Noura Musharraf, the leader of the Education Research Lab, for inviting me to present today my talk about leveraging AI in education opportunities and challenges. I'm very honored to be part of this excellent event and sharing a few experience about the use of AI in education, talking about both opportunity, challenges, and I will be very happy at the end to open room for the discussion. Okay, so I always prefer to start my talk with this picture. So probably people who have already seen my previous talk are familiar with this picture because this picture is really representative of our state nowadays. And it makes me wonder on what would be the balance between the human brain and the machine brains within maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. There is tremendous growth now in machine capabilities because machines are actually learning, while probably humans are more dedicated to their mobile phones, social networks, and interaction with others. And if we make prediction in the future, there could be several more opportunities for humans to embrace different types of disciplines. And we are seeing this pretty much dramatically since the start of ChatGPT 2 years ago. And we can see the invasion of large language models, generative AI tools into not only education, but if you go to any type of conferences with any discipline, you will find that AI is the buzzword everywhere. It's because AI is really pervasive in different type of disciplines in different areas, including education, including academic research. So in this presentation, I'm going to share what are these opportunities, how we can leverage them, and what should be our attitude toward the invasion of AI into our sector. So let me start with these statistics. This is a statistic from Forbes, and it tells about the attitude of educators toward AI in education sector in terms of the outcomes. So 60% they mentioned an active integration of AI in their daily teaching routines, and they reported that it's pretty much productive and increased their productivity, while 35% they still didn't integrate at all. So we can see there is still reluctance from a big part of the of our community about the integration of AI in their practices. Still, I know some people that are still afraid and skeptical about the use of the artificial intelligence. And 4%, they are still uncertain about the AI integration. And 1% didn't want to share their perspective over this for probably privacy issues. So we can see that many people are excited about the use of AI, and the integration of AI can be done in different ways. I think now most of the people talk about ChatGPT, but there are so many other tools right now and other language models that emerge at daily basis, and several of them are being used in different types of educational practices. So one of the things that we must be aware of is that learning is different from education. We at a university, we actually provide educational services. And when we say education, it's kind of structural and formal approach. We have like coursework, we have very well-defined times for giving lectures. So there is a whole strategy for educating people, okay? It's institutional based. Usually students go to an institution to get a degree from school, from university, and it's focused on the outcome. So usually each course has course learning outcomes, and there are also student outcomes at university level. And the education is always guided by a teacher to assist in the curriculum delivery, in the assessment, and the objective is to improve the educational outcomes. But it turns out that now education is not the only criteria for the market, for the job. And this is why learning is another approach of acquiring knowledge. So learning, in contrast to education, is completely self-directed and informal. So everybody can learn at any time. You can learn even at home by watching a video, by opening a book. So there are several resources that we can leverage nowadays to learn. And this learning will give us skills. And these skills could probably, in several cases, they are better than what we can acquire into a university. Of course, university, the good thing is that you will acquire knowledge into a systematic manner, which is something essential. And not everyone has the ability to self-learn by him or herself. So there is a pros and cons from different perspectives. And in the learning strategy, so it's learner guided, it's not teacher guided, it's driven by the motivation of the learner. And they can use different type of tools, including AI, including online courses, online videos, and so on. And several now big tech company, we have heard about Amazon, Google, and so on, they are focusing on, they are changing their hiring strategy by following a skill-based hiring instead of the traditional recruitment hiring. Because traditional recruitment hiring, first of all, it's based on what is your degree and your specialization. But now you can have actually better talents, so this will reduce the odds of the bad hiring in traditional methods, and also will expand the talent pool. So you will have much larger audience to choose from. And even now there are some tools in human resources that are able to optimize the recruitment process. I mean, when you submit a CV, it's going to analyze your CV based on the skills that you have and will match them to the job offer requirement. Okay, and the degree that you get in university is just one of the parameters. It's not the only parameter that will be counted into the hiring or the matching to a certain job profile. So one of the first victims of in education industry is a Czech company. It's a known company that provides assistance to students for helping them to review and their homeworks. Okay, it's an American education technology, and you can see in April 2023, or in the beginning of May 2023, you can see the ChatGPT effect on their total revenues. And by the way, they were not able to come back to the same revenue model that they had before the era of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is a disruptive technology for some companies, and it can be also disruptive for some universities or for some programs if they won't catch up as early as possible with the AI technology. Why I'm saying this? You know, AI is driven by a big market. Maybe I want to show you a slide before talking about that. So if you say now, these are some facts about AI in education. Now, there is a market expansion which is valued to $2.5 billion in 2022, and it's going to be expanded to $6 billion in 2025. And anything that is funded and invested by the industry, it's very difficult to stop it. And you know, people that are fighting against AI right now, they remind the case where the math teachers were protesting against calculator in early of 1988, and now we still have a calculator. So people had to adapt their teaching models, their educational models, okay, to incorporate this technology at that time. And they changed the different type of assessment, and probably they changed the way on how we can deliver courses. Also about AI engagement and integration, based on some surveys. So 44% of the children and 53% of higher education students, they use AI currently in their daily academic work. And 60% of the teachers integrate AI daily. So there is quite a quick adoption, even if it is still informal, even there are no still specialized tool in generative AI that actually leverage the power of generative AI for streamlining the processes in education. But this technology is being used now using like tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or others. And the perception of AI in education is mostly positive, as 51% of teachers and 34% of students believe AI has beneficial impact on education. Of course, there is always a big debate about ethical issues. And you know, ethics is something subjective. It depends on how we can see ethics. So maybe if we ask about using like this type of tools 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that would be probably a big ethical issue. But now these tools are invading the universities, invading the academic institution. If we're going to always consider this, the educational system will be deprecated. So we need to think about how we can. I had a talk, about AI from invasion to integration. Instead of thinking that this is something that is going to invade our institution, let's try to integrate it. Let's try to adapt our teaching models, our education model or assessment model to integrate this technology and take use of it. You know, now ChatGPT or prompt engineering becomes a very important skill. In several countries and industry, they recruit people with a prompt engineer profile. So prompt engineering becomes an important skill. I think it has to be integrated into different disciplines because this is one of the ways to promote the productivity in the productivity of people. So we're being used actually this generative AI in different education practices, and I'm going to share some experience. So what I consider as the medieval of education digital transformation is the classical online course platforms like, for example, Coursera, which is pretty much good, or EDX or Udemy. They are still excellent and efficient, but you know, they become now mature. Now there is a disruptive technology, which is generative AI, that is bringing new type of solution, and we need to adapt to this technology. Probably in 5 years, it's going to be deprecated or something mature, but still now we are at the cusp of this technology. Also, several people have integrated Google Classroom, AR and VR for interactive learning. Also, we talk about adaptive learning using AI personalized education systems. And now one of the best things to make adaptive and customized learning are large language model and generative AI. So also different tools were used in online assessment like LMS, Moodle, but these type of assessment are very limited because they are only based on multiple choice question and things that you can grade, in a static manner. They are not dynamic with, for example, LMS cannot auto-grade a writing essay or a coding exercise or programming exercise. But now large language model, they are able to do that. So there are plenty of tools. All of these are tools that were proposed to be used in AI for education. But since the emergence of ChatGPT and similar large language models, so one tool is replacing all of these different tools altogether. And now there are increasing number of companies that are building tools around the large language model to automate several of these processes. So Forbes has also made some statistics to assess the attitude toward using AI in the education sector based on the outcomes. So 55% of respondents believe that AI has enhanced educational outcomes. And personally, I consider that this is a real fact. Even in consultation companies, like for example, KPMG and Boston Consulting, they have made a survey about the consultants that they are using large language models in their daily work and those that they are not used. So they found that these consultants that they are coping with the AI technology, they have boosted their productivity much more than the traditional type of consultant. And 17%, they have perceived no notable impact from AI in education. So I have also been talking with some people. I've tried to use generative AI to improve my processes, but it failed to do that. But if we look deeper, we're going to observe that the problem comes from this person who are not able to make the right prompts to extract the best of this technology. So prompt engineering, it's a very important skill. I mean, if we give the same type of assessment to different type of people, and we say, okay, you can use ChatGPT to respond to this one, not all of them will be able to provide the best solution because there is still a human touch which will be measured by the skill that the human will have on how to interact with this machine. Okay, 18% they feel that AI has impeded educational impact, which is for me really very odd. And 10% are still uncertain. Okay, still probably not odd because this technology is still new and not everyone has actually acquired the right skill to interact with that technology. And you know, some people they have already a rejection of the technology before even starting to. You know, I talked with some colleagues, they are computer scientists, they don't want even to try this technology. They say, no, it's not going to help me, you know. But if you don't try, you won't feel the difference. So, okay, we talk about this slide, and I want just to provide a very simple and intuitive introduction to what is generative AI. So you can think about generative AI as a black box, okay, that was trained on several type of tasks. and it accepts what we call a prompt, which can be a text or can be an image. Now the prompts, usually they started to be a text, but now you can even submit a PDF file, or you have an Excel sheet that contains data, or you have a picture, submit it to the generative AI and say, okay, please analyze this document or provide me a feedback about this document. And finally, this tool that was pre-trained, and it's a huge tool, okay, it will make a completion to generate either a text or a picture or something else, depending on how it was trained. So generative AI models, they are machines that autonomously develop content by trying to mimic the creativity of humans in generating text, images, or sound. And we have seen a large emergence of different large language models. You are probably much familiar with ChatGPT, or what we call GPT-3, and now we have GPT-4. And even the size of GPT-4, we don't know it in advance. But these models are increasing dramatically in terms of size. So they can actually process different type of knowledge, different type of skills, and cope with even more complex demands. So let me now move to showing some demos about using AI in education. So one of the tools that I have developed since last year, and it's reaching very nice maturity, is ExamGPT. And my objective was to automate the grading. I have been grading exam, since I started teaching, of course, like anyone else. And I found that grading is one of the most difficult tasks, because sometimes the student answer is confusing, sometimes you don't understand his writing. So you will give a grade, sometimes to the best you can. But humans are error prone, so we can make errors, mistakes. Sometimes you have a fatigue, maybe sometimes you have 48 hours to evaluate several tens of exams. So there is always a risk that we may fail. So using AI, it actually increased the reliability of the grading. Another benefit, which is tremendous, is provide personalized feedback. So when you grade with ExamGPT, every student is going to receive a custom feedback based on his personal answer. And this is great because it will tell the student what was the mistake and how to correct and improve the mistake, and what kind of topic he needs to revise. Another also benefit is that the grading is consistent and unbiased. Okay, it's a machine. It will have a criteria for grading an exam, whatever it is. So it will apply a uniform grading criteria to ensure the fairness for all students. And this is very helpful, especially that in some courses, we have several sections. We have multiple students with several sections, and we might have 100 students in one course, and they are divided among different instructors. And we as human beings, everyone has his own strategy to grade a course. Some students are probably more flexible, some others are more rigid. This is human nature. And now using AI, you will have a complete unified grading criteria among all the students. And the best thing for the students is that you can provide instant feedback. Regardless of the number of the students you have, if you have 100 students, you just click a grade, and immediately it starts evaluating every answer of the student, and will submit the feedback to the students either through email, or it can find it on the dashboard. So this has several benefits for the students. It will save tremendous amount of time, provide valuable insights into the student performance. So usually I go back to the dashboard and look what was the issue with this student answer. And I'm going to show you some examples. And also the student enjoy, because it will enhance the learning through real-time, detailed, and personalized feedback. So this is just a snapshot of the dashboard that we all design, and this is an example of email that a student may have once the exam was graded. So you can have a grade here, and of course, AI is always a tool to support the decision making. It doesn't make decision on behalf of human. So whenever there is a grade like this, especially in official exams, so this represents only an estimate. But in most like 99% of the cases, this estimate is correct and is very accurate. But still, we as human, we need to review this grading. I've tried another thing, and I was really surprised about the ability of large language model even to decode handwritten documents. This is one of the notes that I have written myself. My writing is so bad. And I was surprised, but like this is Claude from Anthropic. It was able to extract the whole text almost with no errors. Although it was kind of very difficult with equations, all the equations were also correctly extracted. I've tried the same thing with ChatGPT, and also surprisingly, it was impressive. It extracted all the different text. But I won't recommend using handwritten exam to be graded because it's still not guaranteed. There is a high likelihood that the decoding of the handwritten exams will not be accurate. But when we use a platform like this, like for example, Exam GPT, students will copy paste their answers into a dashboard, into the platform. And then this is an example of feedback. For example, this is in my data science course. It provides a custom feedback to the student. Say, for example, this is your grade, and the function that you have written is almost correct. However, there is a mistake in the for loop. And then provides a recommendation for improvement. You make sure about the logic, and this is the right way on how to write your loop. And this is the student answer, and just down below there is also the instructor answer. So you can see this student has made an error into the for loop, and it has pointed out what is the issue for that particular student and provide him a recommendation on how to improve his answer. This is now a demonstration, but I'm going to go a little bit quick on how to create an exam. So basically, you can add your questions here into a platform. You can create an account, put questions, and And these questions will be submitted to the students, to their email. So when the students will log in, we can actually, so this is the students putting his answers. So making a few mistakes on purpose just to assess. And then, pressing on the grading, you can press grade. Now it goes to AI, it will do automatic grading. When the grading is completed, send you a notification. And then an email will be received by the student. You can check all his answers and how to overcome. And also there is a dashboard where we can check the issues with their answers. So another application of Generative AI is in the course design. So we usually struggle with course syllabus, preparing a course description, course learning outcomes, mapping these learning outcomes to the student outcomes. You have different sections. For example, you have software engineering, computer science, and you need to map all your course to these different type of programs. And now using AI, it can help doing all these things. So imagine that you want to make a course description. You can write it in your language, even with mistakes. You just need to provide the most important keywords. So you say, I would like to make a course description according to the ABET standard. Now it's going to review your existing description, provide you the pitfalls identified, and then propose you a revised description. Okay, look at this, it provides you, and now, in ABET, usually there must be like an ethical part about the course, so it will add it over here. It has knowledge about the different type of standards. Just a moment. Yeah, I want to show you something also more interesting. You can say, I would like to devise the course learning outcomes. So based on a description, it will propose you the course learning outcomes, and also it will map whether it is related to cognitive skills or knowledge skills. And it's pretty much accurate. Believe me, if you review this, it's difficult that you find any inconsistency proposed. So you can also provide the student outcomes and the course learning outcomes, and you ask the AI to make you the mapping. And this mapping, to be honest, it's more accurate than what I can do, because usually when you have 6 learning outcomes and several student outcomes and mapping all of this together with long sentences, at least it will take a long time. But now it can give you a mapping with justification. So your work will be to review this outcome, make sure that it is correct, or make necessary rewarding whenever you are not satisfied with the result. So another important application is the review of research papers. So this is also another platform. It's called reviewanything.ai. And this platform, it helps reviewing papers. So you can upload a PDF file and you can have a full review of that paper, or you can review it section by section. And not only this, so you can ask the AI to even, for example, you have an abstract, and we all know that writing an abstract, there is a strategy on how to write an abstract. You start by a problem statement, and then the gap analysis with the literature, and then the description of the contribution, and then the methodology, and then the summary of the main finding. This is like the standard on how to write an abstract. But unfortunately, many researchers, and especially the young one, they don't know these standards. They don't know how to write an abstract. So when you write an abstract not according to the standard, and using this tool, it will tell you, for example, you didn't mention the gap analysis. You didn't discuss the related work in a critical insight manner. You have only described existing work, and this is not sufficient. You need to make critical comparison. So it provides pretty much, this is an example about reviewing a related work. So here it will evaluate you according to the criteria of that section. In related work, you need to make contrast with previous work. So here it says you have a major issue. This section doesn't adequately compare and contrast the current study with previous work. While it mentioned advanced in GPT models, it fails to explicitly discuss how this development refine or challenge existing knowledge, which is crucial for establishing the relevance of the current research. It will take also another criteria, relevance and breadth. So usually when you write a related work section, it must be relevant to the context, and the breadth also has to be a comprehensive coverage. Critical analysis, it's another criteria to review related works. So here it will tell you, you have provided just a descriptive account for the related work, and you didn't make a critical analysis. So here a recommendation, a more analytical approach is needed to evaluate the strength and weaknesses of the work. So this is also a very interesting example on how we can leverage AI in education. So one of the initiatives that we did also in Prince Sultan University is in academic advising through the PSU GPT. This was the old version, but the newer version, it has an accuracy of almost 99%. So the students can ask any question about academic advising, about adding courses, dropping courses, admission criteria, any kind of questions. So it's able to respond. We have used advanced techniques that are based on retrieval augmented generation. Because usually, for example, if you ask ChatGPT about substantial details about our university, it's not going to be able to respond to everything. So what we did in this case, we brought official documents from the university. And whenever someone asks a question, we will first search for the authentic information from the data sources. And we will take this authentic information with the question provided to the large language model. It will analyze the question and the possible answers from the document, and finally is going to formulate a proper response to the user, which can be a student or can be a faculty member or a researcher. We did also the same thing for the Research and Initiative Center. Now, as very simple usages of ChatGPT, for example, you can use it to create quizzes on Moodle. Okay, so this is an example of a quiz. You can ask, I want to create 5 questions about classes and objects in Java-oriented programming. And it's pretty much interesting that all the questions are, if you ask the question right, you're going to have a very nice type of questions, and you can tune them based on your need. Now, this is the human touch. You need to guide this machine, this assistant, to provide you what you want. And the good thing, when you generate questions like this, you can review them, you can review the answer, whether it is correct. Sometimes it could make mistake, hallucination is always possible, but let's say 99.999% is going to provide you something correct. And then you say, convert this to a Moodle. I can import the quiz and this question. And then provides you this XML format. You go to LMS, import all of them, and you have your question done. This process can take you, for example, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the number of questions, and you're done. If you want to write 10 questions on your own, you need to spend probably half a day. So you can see that AI can pretty much help to improve the efficiency, the productivity. And you can provide more questions to your student. You can provide more customized feedback. For example, here, we can ask to provide also for every wrong answer, provide why this answer is wrong and why this answer is correct. Okay, this is possible also for human to do it, but for sure it will take a lot of time. And this is an example on how it looks on LMS. And finally, you have a quiz you can share with your student, and you know the whole process. Another important application where I use ChatGPT is for course analytics. This is an example of grades that I get from my course, and I would like to understand the performance of students across the different type of assessments. And one of the things, for example, is there a relationship between the first assignment and the final exam? I want to know, for example, people who did well in the first exam, are they likely to do well in the overall course total? So using data analytic tools, and ChatGPT now supports doing data analytics. For example, you can provide your grading, and you can ask, for example, ChatGPT, I want to have a comprehensive data analysis. So it provides you here a possible structure, possible strategy. We'll create a Python code, do the analytics, and then provide you a statistic like this. So I remember I did this statistics last year, which I shared with our college department. I wanted to assess the impact of, for example, here, I want to assess the impact of the English grade, of the CS101 grade on the grade of CS102. And I find interesting results is that, for example, here I find that there is a strong correlation between the student GPA when it comes to my course and the final grade that it will take from my course. This means that the students that are consistently good with the GPA, they will have good grades in CS102, and those who are moderate, they will be also moderate with large probability. We can say also that there is a strong correlation between, if we look at this, the grade of CS101 and 102. So this is the grade of CS101, and it's correlated to 75% with the grade of CS101. So students who performed well in the first programming course, they will have a big tendency to also perform well. And this means that the output of the course is pretty much dependent from the input that you will get from the other courses. And you can here illustrate, for example, the grading distribution. For example, you can see this is the distribution of the grade in the total. We have some outliers, very strong students, very weak students, and here the concentration of the students with 75% is within this box. And you can analyze, so there is less deviation here for the final exam. For the total of 60, you can plot histograms. You can also make predictive models. So plenty of things that you can do with course analytics. Okay, so of course, other things that you can do is also to make language check, like proofreading. Imagine that you have an essay like this, and you want to identify where are the errors. So ChatGPT is able to highlight the errors and also possible corrections from language and grammatical perspective. So what are the challenges right now? We've talked about the opportunities, and we need to talk about the challenges. So as already mentioned, there is still a push and hesitation for many instructors about whether to adopt AI or not. So I would say AI is invasive. It's gonna be there, whether we want it or we don't want it. It's driven by business. It's driven by the need as well. There is a need to use AI. It will improve the experience of students, of faculty members, of the university. It will raise the quality of education to a next level. But we must know how to use and how to take benefit of that technology. So the challenges that also may occur is that accuracy and biases. So ChatGPT may provide skewed or incorrect information. That was probably at the early days of large language model. Still, this challenge is there, but it's being mitigated to a very large extent. Critical thinking, one of the issues, and the consequence, we're not going to see it in 1 or 2 years, but maybe in 10 years or 20 years, especially the new generation, we are going to be over-reliant on AI that could hinder the originality and analytical skills of people. If I need to solve a mathematical equation or write a program, I will always have recourse to ChatGPT. That could be an issue. Okay, that could be an issue that you need to think of, because people maybe stop thinking about solving this problem on their own, which is still needed, as a capacity. Now we are lucky because we knew generative AI after some point in time, where we had the luxury to learn to do the things in ourselves. Now, even if we use AI, we know how things are happening. But the new generation, we need to provide them what are the boundaries where you can use generative AI tools, or you need to rely on your brain. So this is the role of the instructor, is to define clear boundaries. But the instructor needs also to learn about how to leverage these technologies to know what are these boundaries. And, it's not, we need to adapt to these technologies. Some of the assessment, we can tolerate the use of ChatGPT or large language models, but we're not going to evaluate on what this machine is going to generate, but on the consequences of after the machine generated code or generated text, how the student will be able to interpret this text and analyze it. So it depends on the type of assessment, whether we should authorize or ban the use of artificial intelligence. Data privacy, many people talk about data privacy, of course, because now we are using third-party large language model like OpenAI or Claude. But to tell the truth, there is no data privacy. All our documents now are in Google, or our emails are with Google, with Microsoft, with Amazon. So what is data privacy? If data privacy is only with AI, we need to think about the definition, because nothing is on our PCs. Even our PCs, when you put anything on your drive, is connected to the internet. You don't have any clue whether someone is accessing, for example, this big tech company, they might be accessing your documents without even If you use Dropbox, it's basically on. Now everything becomes on the cloud. Even AI is on the cloud. You can host AI on premises, but it's going to be more there are going to be more challenges. Of course, cheating cases. This is now, at the early days, I used to do exams for the students with open books and, even open internet, because they won't find any solution for the exams that they provide to them. But nowadays, it's completely impossible. I remember, if you just open the internet for 5 minutes, all the exam could be solved in just 5 minutes. So nobody should take the risk about opening internet or allowing this type of tools during real exams to the student. So we need to be vigilant about the cheating risks, because this technology is able to respond to a whole exam in just a few seconds. So this is really very risky. So we need to strike a balance, of course, in order to use this tool effectively. We need to protect. Okay, we need to know how to blend AI educational capabilities with the human intuition, how to enrich and not to replace lessons. We need also to propel the student engagement on and define the different type of boundaries where he can use or not to use the artificial intelligence. Also, the educators need to train themselves, need to educate themselves, oversee the ethical AI issues and anticipate on them, so they are not, for example, being abused by the students, or to avoid these risks. Okay, so we may open discussion now on what will be the future of education and learning. So are we going to be replaced at some point in time by robots, maybe, that they will be teaching students? And when I say robot, it's not necessarily something like that looks like this, like a human. It can be just a screen with an avatar and teaching you like new topics. Now there is a big interest in using avatars for chatbots, okay, to give the human appearance to AI. But in the back end, it's basically a large language model and these type of techniques. They're going to take your voice, convert it to a text, send it to a large language model, bringing you the response, and you will have the feeling that there is a human that is talking to you like any other human. So it's something that we need to think about. We can even open a discussion about this. If you want, I will be happy to discuss. Or maybe we're going to have knowledge, you know what Elon Musk is doing, like these Neuralink chips that will put on brain. We don't know what will be the future of these chips. Maybe we can just plug knowledge, through these chips. Everything is expected. And okay, the impact of jobs, of course, uh, I think now everyone should be aware of AI and its usage, because in a couple of years, if you don't know AI, maybe your role in your job will be deprecated. So AI doesn't come without any negative impact. One of the major impact is the impact on environment. So we all know the issues about the climate change and the global warming, and dramatically or unfortunately, this type of technology, they are contributing more than any other technology to these issues of global warming and climate change. So the AI thirst with ChatGPT just uses 1.7 billion gallons of water annually, which is equivalent to 2,500 Olympic pools. This is just water to cool down the heat of the data centers. And in some of the Microsoft data center in Iowa, it contributed to local water shortages. So this is a big issue. So this is why now data centers are being moved to very cold places because of the heating. GPUs now are very much greedy in terms of energy. They heat so much. And this is why we don't actually cool them down by like air cooling. Now there is what we call water cooling. There is special type of water that is used to cool down the GPUs that are responsible of running these large language models. So are we at risk? I'm optimistic. I'm one of the people that promotes the use of AI in different sectors. And I think if we understand well the technology, we will not be at risk, because at the end, people talk about AI can make harm to humanity. And AI will never make harm to humanity. It's human who own the AI who can make harm to the humanity. So if there is an issue, it will come from humans, not from the AI. To make the long story short, AI is just a slave for humans. So we can manipulate AI in the way we want. Thank you very much, and I come to the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Anis, for this very informative, presentation. And obviously, as I was enjoying the whole session, and I was really surprised to see the in-house GPTs which you have created for your courses in College of CCIS. Really, these are awesome. So with this, I have a few questions for you from the audience. So if you allow me, so the first question is from Mr. Al-Yazidi. How can educators be trained to effectively use generative AI tools in their teaching practices?
Yeah, that's a good question. They need to follow training courses. There are several training courses that are offered by different trainers. There are also online courses. Just today on Coursera, I saw a course, AI in Education, where an instructor is explaining what are the different techniques that an instructor can use in order to leverage AI, prompt engineering, for example, and different techniques to leverage AI in education. Last year also, we made a training course over 5 weeks, and also another one over 8 weeks. And one of them was using generative AI in education. And this is really important because the interaction with generative AI is an important skill. As already mentioned, not everyone is able to interact with the same efficiency with these machines. So making training is a very important aspect for educators, also for the students, to take the most benefit of these technologies.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anis. I have another question from another attendee. So what potential effects does feedback generated by AI rather than the teacher himself have on the student-teacher relationship and the overall guidance and advice that the student needs?
Can you repeat the question, sorry?
Like it's about potential effect of the feedback generated by the AI on the student and teacher relationship.
Yeah, to avoid the risk of AI, it's the responsibility of the instructor to make awareness to the students. The only remedy to the AI risk is awareness. And when I say awareness, it must be a clear policy on how you can use AI into your course. If you say, I'm going to ban everything, at the time you are banning, it will invite exclusively the students to use this technology. Why they are banning it? So it means that it can solve my problems. But when you say we don't ban it, but look, in this assessment, I will assess you, for example, in this type of skills. And we know that ChatGPT has these skills, so don't use it. I want to assess your skills, for example, in coding. So in this case, we will ban the students to use this technology. In other type of assessment, for example, coding is not an objective in my courses, for example. So I say, okay, you can use it for coding, but look, I'm not going to assess your code at all. I'm going to assess how you'll make analytics of the results that you will be able to get. So providing this is related to my courses. I don't know. In other courses, there should be policies. And to make these policies, the instructor should be knowledgeable of the technology, about their risks, and about their benefits. Because one of my duty now when I teach a course is also to teach the students about prompt engineering. For example, when they use ChatGPT, I ask them, okay, you have to provide me the notebook that you have used in order to solve part of this project, for example. And they do that. And I can see the sequence of prompts that they made in order to reach a possible solution to their problem. So making awareness, making a clear policy, this is the only way on how you control the attitude of the student. And believe me, they will abide to that. I had students who were doing projects, they get bad grade, and they didn't use ChatGPT to generate code. They were abiding to the policy. Okay, so awareness and informing the students about why we are assessing them in this type of skills, and that they must not use ChatGPT to respond to the question. This is a big, this is an important solution to avoid and mitigate these risks. But the risks are still there. I don't mean that it's going to solve. It depends also on the attitude of the student himself. Maybe he don't want to abide to the policy, but at least you should clarify these policies, and must be written, not only spoken.
Thank you, Professor, for the informative, again, very clear answer. I have one question from my side. It is regarding, I just want to integrate the previous keynote and this keynote. Like, how can AI be used to personalize STEM education to meet the needs of diverse learners, for example? And what are some tools which you can suggest us? Let's say I'm from engineering background, so something about this.
Yeah, to improve the student performance that are not good, for example.
Yes.
Well, and now my experience with the exam GPT is excellent, because I guarantee that every student will receive a custom feedback, and this is part of what we say of adaptive learning or personalized learning. What does it mean, personalized learning? One of its pillars is that you provide a personalized feedback to each student. Now, if you do this manually, in practice, it's almost impossible. Imagine that you have 100 students. Are you able to give a custom feedback for every assessment? Impossible. It's impossible. If you give it for one assessment, you've done great. But even with this and the number of students, you cannot. Now, with a simple click, you can give a custom feedback for every assessment. You can see the difference. So it's tremendously different. Now, another level, which still I didn't reach personally, is to create questions based on the performance of the student. That's something that we can do as well. But for this, we need to have a history of the student performance, and we can ask the generative AI model to generate questions that are accommodated to the performance of the student. This is also possible. And this is another step into personalized learning as well.
Thank you, Dr. Anis. With this, I'm going to conclude this.
Can I have one question, please? Just 1 minute.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, Anis, thank you so much for this presentation. Just when you were talking about using ChatGPT for reviewing papers, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes ethically, is it allowed or not? Because if I receive a paper, I put it on ChatGPT, it becomes accessible by everyone. Because when you receive the invitation from the editor to review paper, they said this is private and you cannot share it.
Okay, do you use, just a moment. First of all, it's not accessible to everyone because your accounts are private. Yes, your account is private. So it's like you have Can anyone access your email? Nobody. You have an account on ChatGPT, so this is a private account. Another thing, if you say it must be private, the other question, is this a handwritten paper or it's a paper that is located on the internet? So this paper can be communicated by email. It's not private, it's on Google Cloud. Why we consider that it is a lack of privacy if it goes to OpenAI and it's still private where it is on Overleaf or on Google Drive?
Okay.
You see what I mean?
So we need to be very careful about this.
Yes, if they want 100% privacy, and in
Yes.
this case, they send you a mail, a hard paper, a hard copy by mail, and you write your review as a hard handwritten, and you send it back by mail as well. This will be fully private. But as long as it flows over the internet, it's not OpenAI that is going to have the privacy.
Thank
Just
you.
to be on the safe side. Okay. Thank you so much, Anis.
Yeah, but you know, if you don't want to use it for other papers, you can use it
Yeah,
for
I
your.
know.
I use it for my own paper. You know, at least I can
Yes,
self-review
exactly.
these papers, and I'm sure you know this is a tremendous need. This is a tremendous need. You know, in many major conferences, if you look at the quality of reviews coming, you know, some of the people send you only one sentence or two sentences. Just I made the review. I want to get rid of it. It won't provide any constructive feedback for the authors. However, when you can review a paper with AI, you will have all the review of the paper from different perspectives, the limitation, the strong points. For example, if there is an issue with the methodology, so you can improve the quality of writing. I can tell you something, like if you look at most of the papers that are written now, they are written by ChatGPT. So they will be written by ChatGPT. Maybe at one point in time, you'll have paper written by AI and reviewed by AI. So the writing of the paper will become an industry. And there is a recent paper that is called the AI Scientists. I invite you to read this paper and to look at the different outcomes of this paper. You know what these people have done? They have now a program that you can run. You provide your idea. It's going to take this idea, go make a literature review, and evaluate the idea whether it is novel or not novel, and then it will write the full paper. You know, it will do the experiment, it will run the experiment, extract the result, analyze the result, make a LaTeX paper, and finally generate a PDF fully written by AI. And if you want to believe it, you go to this paper, they have a GitHub repository, and you will find tens of papers fully generated by AI, and you cannot differentiate that. You know, they have discussed what are the limitations. There are still limitations. It is the first attempt, but I can tell you in 10 years, 20 years, writing will become obsolete. It's the machine that writes, and probably human will just need to think about what they want to achieve.
Thank you, Dr. Anis, for the nice presentation and very informative and detailed question and answers.
Thank
So
you.
with this, I'll conclude the session. Indeed, AI in education holds immense potential to transfer how we teach and learn, offering personalized experience and greater accessibility. Yet it has challenges, as Dr. Anis mentioned. We navigate this evolving landscape. It is essential to balance innovation with responsibilities. So with this, on behalf of ERL Complete Family, ERL leader, Dr. Noor Al-Musharraf, co-leaders, Dr. Alia, Dr. Muhammad Noor Nabi, and the whole ERL family, I would like to thank you for your time and your precious information which you have shared, both of the keynotes. And with this, I also want to thank all of the attendees. They have spent their time to attend this lovely workshop. And with this, I'm gonna close it here at 7:30. We're gonna be starting our session again. So if the participants have any questions, so you can approach the key speakers directly because they both are from PSU, or you can write us and we can coordinate with the keynote speakers. So thank you very much for your time.